Hi everyone. I hope you are having a fabulous day, fabulous week, just a good time all the way around. I wanted to talk to you today about being frugal. Now, I've been frugal pretty much most of my life. Grew up kind of poor in a larger family. So did my mom, so she taught me a lot of her ways. And so I think a lot of people are frugal out of necessity, but then some people are just like that by nature, and I think I'm a combination of the two, and probably so are a lot of other people. Paul was not frugal. He was very much the spendthrift, the splurger, so I had to kind of rein him in sometimes, but you know how that goes. But there are two things that I will never be super frugal or super cheap about. And the first one is food. Food is very important. We all got to eat every day. And so even during times of, I gotta grab this just a second here. I don't normally do videos with my phone, but anyhow, so even when I've been really broke and stuff, I will still try to buy the best quality of food I can get and the least processed. It can be hard, but you just gotta be smart about it, I've always been the person who will buy a bag of apples over a jar of applesauce. Don't get me wrong, I like applesauce, and before I knew how to make it, I was buying jars of it too. Goes great with pork, little kids love it. I get it, But when you're counting your pennies and times are rough and you got to cut in a lot of places of your budget, you shouldn't cut down on your food. You shouldn't cut down on the amount of it unless you're already overdoing it or something. And if at all possible, you shouldn't cut down on the quality of it. And of course, there are times when, you just got to do what you got to do. Sometimes there's temporary circumstances, like lost job or whatever, something along the lines of that. I get that. A medical emergency, whatever, and so for the next week, everybody's eating hot dogs for every supper. That's fine. That's cool. Like I said, you do what you got to do. But I'm talking more long term, even when, say, you're not that tight on money and you just are in that frugal mindset where you like to save money and you don't want to be wasteful. I get that too, but long term eating bad food is never an answer. It's not good for you. It's not good for your family. And you will reap the repercussions of that. It's just the way that it is. You wouldn't put some questionable, not good gas in your car simply because you got it for half price. It's the same concept, only even more important. You can replace a car. You don't want to, even if you could, you don't want to replace your body parts or stuff like that. It'll just make you feel lousy, and it can create all kinds of chaos and problems. So, temporary, yeah. Long term, no. And if you're not really sure, what's the highest quality or how you really should shop decently, just a rule of thumb is if it comes in a box, you should probably look for a more natural alternative. And a lot of the grocery, not the grocery sites, but people who watch that kind of stuff, they'll tell you not to shop the inside aisles of the grocery store because that's where most of the processed stuff is, and that's true. But that's also where rice is and cereal and stuff like that. So instead of your box of Captain Crunch or whatever in that cereal aisle, just get some old-fashioned oats or raw oats and eat, oatmeal. as opposed to some, you know, sugary whatever. Or grab yourself some eggs. It doesn't take that long to make some eggs, and eggs are great for any meal of the day. So stuff like that, you can save money without, you know, dropping your quality of your food. And then my second, number 2, that I won't negotiate if at all possible, is housing. There's been plenty of times when I didn't have a lot of money to pay for rent and had to choose between some very questionable areas. I always chose the most I could afford because I wanted the safest, best neighborhood I could get. Now, I'm not talking about keeping up with the Joneses and, you know, these beautiful neighborhoods and blah. No, that's not what I mean. I mean the best neighborhood I could afford, so I didn't have to be afraid of letting my kids play outside. I didn't have to worry that someone was going to be breaking into my house every other day, or I had to get a guard dog or something along the lines of that. You know, the way I looked at it is I'd rather live cheaply in a working class neighborhood than live a little bit more like a king in a really poor neighborhood. But I know there are plenty of people that don't do that. I mean, I personally know people that will pay really cheap rent and live in a dicey neighborhood so that they can afford a better car, a higher car payment, and they can have better clothes, and they can go on vacation and stuff. And I won't do that. I just won't. Your peace of mind and the safety and security of you and your family is far more important than having nice clothes or a better car. Sometimes you do have to move to a place you don't want to. But again, that would be more along the lines of a temporary circumstance. And like I said, temporary is temporary. It's not forever. You know, I get that, and I've done it. But I didn't like it. And to me, that's just your peace of mind, and you're feeling good about it on a day-to-day basis is more important. So yeah, I always drove beaters with a heater. You know, I shopped at Goodwill, didn't always have new stuff. You know, I don't do manicures and pedicures, and I don't go to the movies too often, stuff like that. But I may pay more in rent, and like where I am now, it's a little more expensive there. But I'm not worried about a lot of things. I don't worry that someone's breaking into my car at night. You know, I don't worry about walking to my car at night. I feel secure, and you know, what's the price tag on that? And then, you know, when the kids were little and I was divorced and I was by myself, you know, it just made sense to me, you know, and I hope it makes sense to you too. And we all have our thing, you know, where we won't cheap out, and you know, where we're just not going to compromise because it's that important to us. So go ahead down in comments and let me know. I'd really like to hear about it, and maybe we can learn something from each other.